Today, as I said, I would like to find the connection between Purim and Pesach. Of course, we will emphasize more Purim, but we'll see that Purim and Pesach is under the same umbrella. Okay? In Masachet Ta'anit on page 29, okay, you see line 5. I'm going to quote. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Bred Rav Shmuel Bar Shilat. Rav Yehuda is the son of Rav Shmuel, Mishme de Rav, on behalf of Rav. כשם שמנכנס אב ממעטין בשמחה, כך משנכנס אדר מרבין בשמחה. So first of all, when we say משנכנס אדר מרבין בשמחה, you know, everyone might think it's in Masachet Megillah of Purim, but it is not in Masachet Megillah. It's in Masachet Ta'anit under the subject of Tisha B'Av. I would say that Tisha B'Av is the opposite of Purim. Tisha B'Av, we are crying, we are fasting on the destruction of the temple. But you see, we compare the sadness of Tisha B'Av to the happiness of Purim. Look what it says. Keshem, as exactly when we Av enter, we not only said on Tisha B'Av, from Rosh Chodesh Av until Av, we have 9 days. These 9 days, we have special halachot. Mema'atin besimcha. You diminish the simcha. Kach, the same thing, Mishenichnas Adar, when Adar is enter, marbin besimcha, you increase the simcha. So it is interesting to see that we learn the simcha from the sadness. There is a connection between the sadness of Chodesh Av to the happiness of Chodesh Adar. As a matter of fact, to make it as a conclusion, this is our life. This is the Jewish life. You know, we say, you know, we have all of the ways. We have Ashkava, we have funeral, we have this, we have Bar Mitzvah, we have Hatuna, we have Hanukkah. That's our life. We have to know it. Rashi, it says, Mishenichnas Adar. Okay, when Adar came is Rosh Chodesh Adar, right? So until when? It doesn't say until when. In Tisha B'Av, we know we have 9 days. Look what Rashi says. Yemen Nisim Ayu Israel Purim vePesach. So the happiness of Purim continue all the way to Pesach. So it's not only after Purim you stop, you increase the Simcha more and more until after Pesach. As a matter of fact, remember, my dear friends, that to be happy, you should be every day. Every day we should be happy. But those days of Adar and Nisan are very unique and special days that we have every day to increase more and more the Simcha. In brackets, in parentheses, I would like to tell you, you know, if you're talking about, let's see if somebody can help me with the answer. The question is, why, you know, when the halacha about Av, the halacha said clear what we're not allowed to do. For instance, we're not allowed to have music, we're not allowed to have parties, even we don't make laundry. Many people do not make laundry unless they have babies. But you know, they don't make laundry. It's very defined and specific halacha, what not to do. But in Adar, it doesn't say what to do. You understand my question? So why, when we are upset and we are sad, the halacha is very clear and very specific what we're not allowed to do. But in Purim and Nisan, he said, be happy, increases your happiness. But there is no specific what we have to do those days. What, to make more laundry, to eat more pizza, what, to eat more ice cream, what to do? Somebody has any answer? I'll tell you.
It's the happiness, it's not eating and drinking. The happiness is to be close to Hashem.
No, to be close to Hashem, we have to do every day. I'm asking Ruth, my question is, why the halacha in Masachet Megillah or in Shulchan Aruch, it doesn't say, you know, how you define Simcha. Why you define what is atzvut, sadness, but you do not define what is simcha. So let me tell you, the answer, you know, because this is, you know, it's very short and very sweet, very good message. When you are sad, there are limitations. There are boundaries around. Tell me now, to be happy there are boundaries?
No.
No, you said to be close to
Limited.
Hashem. There is no boundaries. If the halakha will be specific, there is boundaries to happiness. Happiness is endless. You increase in all the time, you increase your simha. That's why in simha it doesn't define what is simha. Simha is you increase all the time. You said the right word, to be close to Hashem. To be closer to Hashem. We have to do it every day, but especially in Adar and Nisan. Now, the simha is not in Purim. When you start the simha?
In Rosh Chodesh.
In Rosh Chodesh. So if Purim is the main thing, we said you should be happy in Purim. But he said, no, Mishenichnas Adar marbin besimha. Like, but Pesach, we do not celebrate Pesach from Rosh Chodesh Nisan. We are trying to prepare ourselves. But, Pesach is 15 of Nisan, period. So why the simha of Purim is not dafka only on Yud Dalet Adar? Why it starts in Aleph Adar, in Rosh Chodesh? Okay? And not only this, if you start in Rosh Chodesh Adar, that means you celebrate the bad time, the trouble time too. Because until Purim, we didn't know. We thought, Haman has the final solution. Are we celebrating the final solution of Haman? No. So why are we celebrating all these days before Purim? We should be happy on Purim, because Purim was the big celebration, big happiness that Hashem changed the decree of Haman and make everything the opposite. And number 3, what is the connection to Pesach? How we connect Purim to Pesach? Okay? So look what it says in Masechet Ta'anit. Do you remember the date that we are fasting? Which date we are fasting?
In Purim.
No, on Chodesh Av.
Tisha B'Av.
Tisha B'Av, right? Tisha B'Av, look now here. והיינו אמר רבי יוחנן, line 14, אלמלא הייתי באותו דור, if I'd be in the generation of the destruction of the temple, לא כבעתיו, I wouldn't say תשעה באב, I would say עשירי באב, 10th of Av. You know why? Because most of the fire and the burning was on 10th of Av. The burning began on Tisha B'Av. But really the main burning, the main fire was 10th of Av. So that's why Rabbi Yochanan said, if I would be in the same generation, I would make the first day on 10th of Av, not on Tisha B'Av. You know what the answer is? The answer, Rabbanan, look at the yellow. Athalta de fur'anuta adifa. The beginning of the destruction is the main thing. If the fire started on Tisha B'Av, that's worse than Tisha. You are not celebrating, you commemorate the destruction on the beginning of the trouble, the beginning of the fire, not about the main fire. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're going back to Chodesh Adar. Now we remember we spoke about Mahatzit shekel. When we make announcement on the shekel, Mahatzit shekel, on Rosh Chodesh Adar.
Yes.
Rosh Chodesh Adar, נכון? Look line 18. באחד באדר, the first of Adar, משמיעים על השקלים ועל הכליים. You will make the announcement about מחצית השקל. ב-15 בו, on the 15th of Adar, קוראים את המגילה. You read the Megillah on the 15th. שיטה מקובצת, now another explanation about this. באדר היו גובים שקלים. On חודש אדר they collected the money. כדי שיהיו כולם מגיעים ללשכה קודם ראש חודש ניסן. That everybody will come before ראש חודש ניסן. למה? Because remember the money of the מחצית השקל? Where is it for? What is it for? קורבנות ציבור, קורבן תמיד. קורבן תמיד, yeah, but for קורבן. כדי שיהיו כל קורבנות הציבור הבאים מראש חודש ואילך, because all the קורבנות ציבור will come from the תרומה, from the מחצית השקל. So you see, מחצית השקל is really the thread that connect Purim to Pesach. Because remember, so all Mahatzit shekel that was, on Purim time, but it went all the way to Chodesh Nisan to buy Korbanot Tzibur for Pesach, for Korbanot Tamid that we do on Chodesh Nisan. So that's already one connection. We'll see much more. Now let's go to Purim a little bit. I don't know if you know, because whoever grew up in Israel probably remember. What is the most popular song on Purim?
משנכנס אדר.
שנכנס אדר. Yes, that's what we say. You know, you have another song?
עד שלא ידע.
Good, keep going. That's why I said,
הפורים, מסכות ליהודים.
okay, girl, now you're Ruth, you remember your kindergarten. That's good. But I'll tell you the song, tell me if you know it. There is one song, by the way, there is minhag to do it after Megillat Esther, the reading of the Megillah. You know what the other song is? Shoshanat Yaakov. You ever heard? Shoshanat Yaakov, tzala v'samecha, bir'otam yachat, chelet Mordechai. That's Shoshanat, that's now you see, I see that Esther sound familiar to her, but in Israel is the most popular song. And this song was written more than 1,000 years ago. Because how do we know? Because Rambam mentioned it, the poem in his book, and Rambam was 1,000 years ago. So the poet, which we don't know who he is, he's a genius, but all the rabbis talking about the essence of the poem. And now I would like to share with you this poem, Shoshanat Yaakov. Shoshana, do you know what is Shoshana?
The rose.
Very good, rose. Shoshana. What is Yaakov?
The rose of Yaakov.
Yaakov Avinu, Am Israel. Do you know the difference between Yaakov and Israel?
Yaakov is Yahid.
Israel is also Yahid.
Israel is after he fight with the Malach.
It's all the people.
But Yaakov is in Panama. Israel is in Israel. Yaakov is our father in the Galut. Okay? When you say Yaakov, remember what is the root of the word? Akev. What is Akev? Heel.
Yes.
Tail. Heel. Akev is the tail, the Galut. Israel, now Esther mentioned, he was fighting with the angels. And he was fighting and won the angel. He defeated the angel. Israel is Eretz Israel. That's the destination. That's the purpose. To move from Yaakov to Israel. Yaakov is lower than Israel. Okay? So Shoshanat Yaakov, Tzahala v'samecha. You know what is Tzahala? Tzahala is another word for Simcha. Do you know when the dog is opening his mouth and making noise? How do you say the dog is what? Barking. The dog is barking. Okay? Now let me test you about animals. With the cow making noise, what do you say?
He's mooing.
Oh, yes, very good. And the lion is opening his mouth. What is doing?
He's roaring.
Again, good. Now, we said the same thing, the sus, the horse. I don't know how to say it in English, but you know how he said sus? Tzohel. When the sus is making, he's like sneezing, when he's doing his noise. But that's, he said, Asus Tzohel, he's happy. He's very happy. So he said, Asus Tzohel, Shoshanat Yaakov, Tzahala v'samecha, mean increase. The rose of Yaakov increase the happiness. Okay? Remember, that's the name of the song. Okay? So he said, there is one poet, one rabbi, his name Rabbi Moshe David Wali. Rabbi Moshe he was a physician. Very, very, very great physician. And he was being Mekubal. Okay? He was being Mekubal. He was a friend and a student of Rabbeinu Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, the one who wrote the book Mesilat Yesharim. Mesilat Yesharim, Rabbi Moshe Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto. He wrote explanation to the song. As a matter of fact, he projected light to the song. Beautiful explanation. And I would like to share this with you. I hope you will enjoy his explanation as I enjoyed it. Okay, look what it says. Now, first of all, Shoshanat Yaakov Tza'ala V'Samecha. Where he took it from, the topic, the name of the song. Look at the Pesuk of Mordechai, line 13. ומרדכי יצא מלפני המלך. And Mordechai came out from the king. Who is the king?
Hashem.
Hashem. How do you know it's Hashem?
Mordechai only have Hashem.
But how do you know it's Hashem?
Because HaMelech.
Hashem.
Every place that in the Megillah you see the word Melech without a Hashverosh is Hashem. There is no Hashverosh. Not only there is no Hashverosh, here Ha-Melech. What is Ha in Hebrew?
The one.
The king. The king. Melech Malchei Amlachim. Bilvush Malchut. You know what is Bilvush Malchut? Royal. He was, his clothing was royal. What is the color of the clothes? תכלת וחור ועטרת זהב גדולה ותכרית בוץ וארגמן. Five different kings. But then what is the main color here? Tchelet. Very good. We learned about this word many times. What is tchelet in English?
Light blue.
Light blue. Very good. Not blue, light blue. Okay, we'll see later on what is tchelet in the Gemara. How you make it. Tchelet is not such easy things to find, to make. The light blue. Okay, Va'ir now. Va'ir Shushan. In the city of Shushan, which is the capital city, Tzahala V'Samecha. Remember what is Tzahala? Happy and happy, increasing the happy. Now, he took the poem Shoshanat Yaakov from this pasuk. The word Shushan, he made the word Shushan, Shoshana. Shushan in the Megillah is the city, the name of the city. But he took the word Shoshan and he made it Shoshana, rose. Okay? Za'ir Shushan all of a sudden changed to be Shoshana. To be the, what is the idea? Okay? So he said he took the word from Shir HaShirim. Now, what? Do you know a pasuk with Shoshana in Shir HaShirim?
Ben Shoshana ben HaChachim.
Good. Very good, Ruth. Yafeh. One more. Very good. Look line 20. Ani Havatzelet HaSharon Shoshana Ta'amakim. Shoshana Ta'amakim is a rose in the valleys. Now look, I put in red and yellow, line 21. Keshoshana ben Ahochim ken Rayati ben Abanot. Who is Rayati? Rayati is my wife. Who is the wife? Who is the wife in Shir HaShirim? Am Israel. Am Israel. Ben Abanot. You know, that means Hashem loves Am Israel among all the nation. He likes the uncle, love Am Israel. But I want you, one word you did not translate here. Let's see who knows this word. This is not easy word in Hebrew. Even some Israelis don't know the word. So it says, Keshoshana ben what?
HaChachim.
What is Hohim? I challenge you, huh? Esther, you know?
No.
No, it's very difficult word. Because it's as I said, many Israelis don't know. It's not a word that we use on a modern Hebrew. It's a biblical word. But it's a beautiful word. But today in Hebrew it's a very strong word. People who know Hebrew know Hohim is thorns. You know what is thorns?
Yes, espinas.
Sí.
Like
what the rose have.
like the burning bush.
That hurt.
Yes.
Yeah, like an injection.
Yes, thorn. Remember the word thorn. In English it's thorn. How do you say it in Spanish?
Espinas.
Yes,
Espinas.
that's the word.
Espinas.
Yes. Now tell me, do you like to be in the midst of the kotzim? And now I teach you the Hebrew word. The modern Hebrew word for hohim is kotzim. Kotzim. Kuf vav tzadik yud mem. Kotzim. So now remember when I said the word kotzim means hohim. Like the burning bush was a kotz, was a thorn. You know, with the fire. So now I'm asking you now, do you like to be in the midst of the kotzim?
No.
Who likes to be so? The poem asked, the poet asked, you know, he put Shoshanat Yaakov Tzala V'Samecha, he put the Shir HaShirim Keshoshana Ben HaChochim. Why she's so happy if she's in the midst of the kotzim? If you are in the midst of the kotzim, it's poking you. It's not a pleasure to be in the midst of the kotzim.
But the rose, the flower is above the thorns. So the thorns are actually protecting the rose.
Oh, what an idea. Wow. Wow. I didn't think about this, but I'll go in different path. Something else completely, but it's good idea what you said. Very nice. I don't know, I have to ask somebody. My father passed away. He was a gardener. You know, if really the kotzim protecting the rose, is it... you're talking the kotzim of the leaves of the Shoshana. Because the Shoshana... Okay. Okay. Here I'm not talking about the thorns of the Shoshana itself. I'm talking real thorns around the Shoshana that can choke the Shoshana and kill her. You know, we say, you know, when you put, you know, when we went, what Hashem showed, why he showed to Moshe the burning bush? You know why he showed him the burning bush? Because you know who is the thorn? The thorn is Paro. And now, but the burning bush was not consumed by the fire. Because, by the way, when we were little kids, we were playing football, soccer, you know, with the balls. Sometimes the balls were running away to the field, to the kotzim. Now, if the ball, then, you know, let's say, you know, not big balls, small balls, you know, like tennis ball. You know, he said, if the tennis ball is inside, now what's easier, to push the hand inside or to pull the hand outside? You know?
Pull outside.
Yes, when you push the hand inside, it's not so burning, it's not poking really. But when you trying to pull your hand out of the thorn catching you and poking you. So Moshe thought he will go to Egypt, he will not come out alive from Paro. Said, no, look at the fire in the burning bush. It doesn't, you know, there is a fire, but it doesn't consume the thorn. Don't worry, you will not have any damage from Paro.
Yes.
So now, our question to our subject, why the Shoshana is happy and if she is in the midst of the kotzim? Is the question clear?
Yes.
Very good. Let's continue. Line 24. כשושנה בין החוחים, שזה רמז, this is a hint, למלכות שהיא גולה וסורה בארצות הגויים. You know what this is a hint?
She's a queen among the goyim.
That's a remez to the Jewish community in Panama as well.
Yes.
Remez is like something...
Don't think for 1 minute that Panama is Yerushalayim. Okay? Panama is Panama, New York is New York. And New York or Australia or Berlin or Boston, all of them are kotzim. And kotzim. And you know, he said, but you know, but the nature is that the Jewish people should not be in the kotzim. Okay? But the fact is that many Jews in the kotzim. אבל סוף סוף רוצה המלך הקדוש, בת השם הקדוש ברוך הוא רוצה לכלות הקוצים שלה. What he wants to destroy, to abolish, to consume the thorn around it. ולהרימה בקרב אויביה, להודיע ולוודא שמלכותו בכל משלה. השם בעזרת השם very soon will elevate the Jewish people among the kotzim. The kotzim symbolize the enemies. And the enemies, like these terrorists, they're trying to give us such a hard time every day. Sooner or later, they will be consumed by the fire. Sooner or later. This is a fact. Because the
It's very
Geulah...
sad, Rabbi. It's very sad, Rabbi, it's very sad that in Israel we have the Kotzim Bifnim.
נכון.
And we give them, we give them all, Rabbi.
Indeed, you absolutely... By the way, also Israel called Galut. You know what I mean? It's not Galut. Why it's called Galut? As long as all the Jews not in Israel, we all in Galut. That's why in Tfilat Shmona Esrei, we say even though that most of the Jews today, Baruch Hashem, in Israel, but that's the beginning of the redemption. That's not the redemption yet. So we said, Ka b'shofar gadol lechirutenu, v'sa nes lekabetz galiyotenu, me'arba kanfot haaretz. We pray every day in Shmona Esrei. So we are one nation. Keep this in mind. You know, if the Jews is in Australia or New York or Panama or here in Jerusalem, is the same nation. So if you're not here, for us is a galut yet. So now, as you said, you know, we see the Kotzim also in Israel. Lo alenu. Be'ezrat Hashem, Hashem will take revenge very quick.
Amen.
ולכן השושנה, עכשיו that's why we said, why we say שושנת יעקב? It should be what? שושנת Israel. Israel is higher than Yaakov. So why you put Yaakov? Because we're still in the galut. כי ישראל בגלותם, look here, ישראל in the galut, נקראים יעקב. We are בני יעקב, not בני ישראל yet. Now, so he said, הפייטן תמה מאוד. Now we're going back to the question. Why the Shoshana is very happy when she is surrounded by Kotzim?
Because she knows that Hashem will, because she knows when she's in a hard moment and aching, but she knows that Hashem will destroy the Kotzim.
Okay.
She's protected. Nobody can reach her.
Okay.
Hashem,
Be'emet, indeed, what we say is right, but let's see now, it's a formula for us. You know, I like to give shiurim. How can we apply the shiur to our life? And remember what he says. If you know the song by heart, you know what the next sentence. I will tell you what the next sentence. Shoshanat Yaakov tza'ala v'samecha bir'otam, look line 7. Bir'otam yachad tchelet Mordechai. That's the answer. Let me explain to you what is it. What is bir'otam? What is lir'ot?
To see.
To see. They are happy when you see, what is yahad? Together. Tchelet Mordechai. The light blue of Mordechai. You know how to say purpose in Hebrew?
what?
Purpose. Destination. Purpose, you say tachlit. Tachlit. Do you know where is the color tchelet? We'll see later on. You know what is the color tchelet? You know what the color of what?
In the tzitzit.
No, the color. Where do you see the color tchelet?
In the sky.
In the sky.
No, you skipped one. The Gemara said, yes, the ocean.
Tzitzit.
If you go, he said the sea, the Tzeva Ayam. If you go to the Yam, to the sea, and take a glass of water, empty glass, and take water from the Yam, what color you will find? Clear. He said, no, it's not the sea, it's a reflection of the heaven. I said, let's take our jumbo and move up all the way to the atmosphere. What is the color of the atmosphere?
No color.
No color.
Clear.
Clear.
It's clear. So wait a minute. You said the sea is reflection of heaven. Do you know that the heaven is reflection of what?
Of the techelet,
כיסא הכבוד.
כן, רות. כיסא הכבוד. How do you say כיסא הכבוד in English?
the
Not, look, we said in English, we said coats. How do you say coats? Thorn. But you know how to say כיסא הכבוד? Throne.
throne.
The throne of God. כיסא הכבוד. But you know what the כיסא הכבוד...
Trono.
You know what...
In Spanish is trono.
Huh?
The
In
throne.
Spanish is trono.
נכון. So he said now, you know what was under the throne of God? כיסא הכבוד? Brick. You know what the name of this brick? לבנת הספיר.
Sapir.
Sapir. Sapir is a jewel. And you know what the color of this jewel? תכלת.
Techelet.
By the way, the sapphire is the most expensive diamond. If you buy a ring, and you know your husband wants to give you a birthday, gift, tell him I want sapphire. I want this. This is the most expensive. He might use. He might like say. Sapphire is the tchelet. So now, so the tchelet, remember the sapphire is under the throne of God. ומרדכי יצא מלפני המלך. He came out בלבוש מלכות. What was the name of the color, the first color? תכלת. So where Mordechai was, he was near the כיסא הכבוד. Remember which gate last week we learned which gate Mordechai was? שער.
50.
The 50th
50.
שער.
50.
He was ממש in כיסא הכבוד. And you know what the תכלית now of our life? You said Ruth before, to be close to Hashem. Closer and closer and closer to Hashem. That's the tachlit. Tachlit, tchelet. To be together. Now, do you see what color I put on the birotam yachat tchelet Mordechai? What colors I put?
Red.
Yellow and red. But the word yachat, I put only red. Because I want to ask you, I wanted to pay attention to this word. How you define the word yahad?
Yud He Dalet.
That's how you spell it. But I said how you define.
To be united together.
Yehid, only one, together.
United.
Is yahid? Yahid is singular. Yahad is together. Okay, so now I'll explain to you. There are two meanings to the word yahad. Let's say now we are together, nachon? Now all of us as a group together. So if we are together, that's one yahad. Nachon? That's one meaning of yahad. But there is something else. Let's say we are now in the room. You know, we are in the Bet Knesset Ahavat Zion or Shevet Ahim. And all of a sudden there is a heavy rain or, you know, something outside. We are going to the window to watch the weather. And what we see through the window?
Geshem.
Geshem. Only Geshem? Only Geshem?
The thorn.
Only this? You see the whole world. You see the nature. You see the trees. You see the building.
Okay.
So now Yahad could be, listen. So one meaning of Yahad, we are together. But there is another Yahad that all of us together see the whole world together. The whole creation of the world of Hashem is together. I mean the trees, the leaves, the flowers, the rain, everything is together. That's the other meaning. In Megillat Esther, you will see both of them. Do you remember when Mordechai said to Esther, it's her job to save the Jewish people? After she was convinced and she was successful with Achashverosh, what did she say to Mordechai? The first request. He said, okay, let's start.
To be the people to be together.
Yes.
God,
Do you remember the word?
Yasfu.
No, that's Yaakov Avinu. He said, lech kenos et kol haYehudim. Kenos, like the word Knesset. Kenos,
Yes.
Kenos, not the Knesset we have in Israel. Over there, they're not together. But he said, you know, Kenos is gather them together. Birotam Yahad. He said, you know, that's why he said the first thing she said to Mordechai, first of all, unity. All the Jews must be together. And that's what I'm trying to tell the people. All the dispute that we have is nonsense. I'm not talking about dispute in the Torah, V'Lashem Shamayim. I'm talking politics. I'm talking all these things. You know what's going on. He said, and you know who's celebrating, our dispute?
Palestine.
Who?
Palestine.
The Goyim.
The Goyim. The Goyim are happy. Did you hear the last speech of Nasrallah? Yimach Shmo v'Zichro? That's what he said. That's what he said. He said, are we stupid? I mean, don't we understand that we have to agree to disagree? Don't we understand that we have to be together? That's what Esther said. Before the final solution of Hitler, you have to stick together. It's not an option. And now she wanted to tell the other Yahad, he said, I want you to see, when Haman got, do you remember what he got from, what is the worst moment for the Jewish people in Megillat Esther?
The mistake, no? When
What?
They went to the mistake.
No, that's not the worst. The worst thing in the Megillat Esther that was really scary, when? In Perek Gimel, you will see, I quote this, you see in the scene. Hashverosh gave the ring to Haman.
And
You know what does that mean?
he can do whatever he wants.
He can do whatever he wants, and he said clear what he wants. He didn't hide. Here are, the good things about the Arabs, the good, what I said good, good things. They're not lying. They said they want to kill us. They won't kill us. They want final solution. The final solution is not over. Iran said it for the last 10, 15 years, day by day. The main goal is to get rid of the Jews. That's all. And unfortunately, many nations in the world agree with them. But if you remember Mahatzit Shekel, B'ezrat Hashem will have happy end. So so that was, do you know what happened with this ring on Perek and chapter 8? That's Perek Gimel. Do you remember what happened with this ring on Perek Het? What happened with the ring of Haman?
Mordechai took it and give it to not Mordechai. Hashverosh took it and gave it to Mordechai.
Now tell me now. Do you remember the name of Hashem? How we say name of Hashem? One Hashem, one Elokim. What the difference between Elokim and Hashem?
Rahamim and Din.
Din and Rahamim. Now, Perek Gimel is Elokim or Hashem?
Elohim.
Elokim.
Elohim.
Midat Adin. Haman, like you got the ring. And Perek Het is Elokim or Hashem?
Hashem.
Hashem. Now tell me, are Elokim and Hashem is two gods?
One, yeah.
That's Yahad. That's Yahad. If you don't see Perek Gimel and Perek Het under the same umbrella, under the same God, is a big mistake. Sometimes Hashem appear to us with Midat Adin, and sometimes Hashem appear to us with Midat Rahamim. There is no question that what happened to us in Israel right now with the terrorists is Midat Adin. But we will, Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll see Hashem Rahum V'Hanun. And He will show us, will show up with Midat Rahamim. There is no question about it. But we have to do something. We have to be together. We have to make tshuva. We have to do something, not to sit in the house to wait for the redemption. We have to take action. So you understand what is Yahad? So one Yahad is we all together. But the other Yahad is to see, Midat Adin and Midat Rahamim, Perek Gimel and Perek Het, the same God. That's Yahad. That's why look what he said. Look line 14. Ayahad Arishon, the first Yahad, when Esther said, look, red and yellow. Can you read it? Lech what?
Kenos et kol haYehudim.
What is Kenos? Do you remember what is Kenos?
Reunite.
Yes, gather themselves, gather together. And Gam Ayahad Hasheni, line 15, the second Yahad, זה לא רק את תכלת מרדכי. They see, we said תכלת, do you remember how many colors, how many suits he had? 5. But תכלת is the combination of all the colors. That's why he said, the combination of all the colors, that's why he said תכלת. But תכלת sound like it's only one color. But Yehudei Shushan, they had the ability, you know what they were happy? The ability to see all the colors together. To see the ability to see, you know, Perek Gimel and Perek Het under the same Hashem. Hashem and Elokim. Now tell me now, when you are in the midst of the Kosim, you know what was the happiness? When you have Kosim around you, you have to have the ability to elevate yourself above the Kotzim. And you have the ability to elevate yourself above the Kotzim and to see the Kotzim is nonsense, then you will be very happy. Tell me, when our friend making us very upset and very angry, what you do? What you do if somebody really teasing you, make you very upset? What you do?
We keep quiet.
That's a good one. Malka, what you do? Huh?
We leave him there.
Very good. I like it, Malka. You know what you do when you said, you ignore him? You elevate yourself above the courts. When we are now, we see the terrorist, apply to today. What happened today, yesterday, Rabotai, 2 days ago? 2 young brothers, on the way, on the road, going to be together with the family. And then they got killed 2 minutes. Could you imagine his parents now, his family now?
I don't want to.
We are, after 1 week, we will forget about it. We'll go back to routine. But the family is for good, forever. Do you remember when I brought to Panama Miriam Peretz?
Of course.
You know why I brought Miriam Peretz? How this lady has the ability to elevate herself above the disaster, above the tragedy. And I'm not, Baruch Hashem. Of course, I lost cousins, I lost students, but to lose 2 sons, 2 children, and her husband. So, to have the ability, that's why he said, that's why the Shoshana is happy. The Shoshana is happy is not because she's in the midst of the Kotzim of the enemies. She has the ability to rise, to elevate herself above the Kotzim.
Mm-hmm. And that is what she's compared with Am Israel, because Am Israel make the same thing every day.
Nachon. So my dear friend, I hope you agree with me that he said, if you see all the corruption of Haman and Ahashverosh, all the, he was a crook. He bribed the king with money to kill the Jewish people. And now you see all these psukim and all the psukim, you can see above this, all this corruption and manipulation, you see Hashem above this. Hashem is there. Remember the parasha Bo El Paro? Remember what we said about Bo El Paro? You should say what? Lech El Paro. Why you say Bo?
Lech.
So why Hashem said Bo and not Lech? You know why, Bo? Come to me, I will go with you. When you are in the house of Paro, I am with you. I am always with you. So remember this, my dear friend, when we are in trouble, Hashem is with us. But we have to know that sometimes, unfortunately, He showed up and appeared to us with Midat Adin. Or here is about the color that I told you, is Masechet Menachot, page 43. We said, about the... Now, what the difference between the Goyim and the Jewish people about philosophy? One of the main things. Do you remember the dream of Paro? How many dreams he had?
2.
2, nachon? And remember, he had the fat cow, the skinny cow, the fat corns, the skinny corn. He saw many things, but Paro's problem, that he so separate each thing. he did not see it together. He did not see that all these details, the cow and the skinny, and all those is under one God. He could not see it's one. Do you remember what Yosef told him after the second dream that he told him?
Those dreams are the same thing.
What? Halom Par'o?
It's only one.
Ehadu. Ehadu. You know, because your conception is Alma de Peruda. You know what is Alma de Peruda? You separate. You see that everything is something separate. He said skinny cow cannot swallow fat cow. You're absolutely wrong. Skinny cow. You know why Paro got scared? Because he is the fat cow. He's the strong or weak?
Strong.
He's the strongest one. He appeared as God. And now from his dream, looks like somebody can defeat him. The skinny cow can swallow him. So, but Yosef said, my dear friend, Halom Paro Ahadu, we the Jewish people, Alma de Ahduta, Perek Gimel and Perek Het is the same B'Shem. Hashem can appear to you with Midat Adin, He can appear to you with Midat Rahamim. That Ash'onah, so now we understand now really clear what Yosef explained to Paro and why the Shoshana is very, very happy. Now, for one more example, before we go to Pesach, one more example that, to show us good illustration, what is one Hashem? Hashem Echad. By the way, when you say, do you remember who is the first one say Shema Israel?
Who's the what?
Yaakov, children of Yaakov.
Yaakov, Nachon, where?
When he saw Yosef.
Nachon. Very good. It says by Yosef, there are two times he appeared and said Shema Israel. One when the children came to him before he died, and one before he said it would be Yosef. Do you remember when with Yosef? How many years Yaakov did not see Yosef?
Me consigue todo.
How many years he did not see him?
Yosef.
Yo me tengo que ir a las dos.
22? 20, no.
Do you know how many years?
Se llama
Malka.
Yeah,
On the mute.
Yeah,
Ay, perdón.
how many years? 20 years he did not see him.
20.
20 years. Now tell me, if you see Malka, Esther, I see now in the picture, Ruth, whoever is in the shiur, if your son going to New York from Panama, not for 1 month, and he's coming back and you pick him from the airport, what you do when you see him?
We kiss him, we hug him.
You hug him, you kiss him. And now we're talking about Yaakov that loved Yosef. There is no question that he loved him more than anybody else. He did not know what happened to him. Now we see he's still alive. And what is he doing now when Yosef is hugging him and kissing him? What Yaakov is doing?
He's saying Shema.
Shema Israel. You know why you say now Shema Israel? So Rashi says, time of Shema. Do you remember what question Maharal Miprag asked? Maharal Miprag said, if this is the time of Shema,
Yosef didn't say the Shema.
so Yosef also has to say Shema.
Yes.
Do you know what you say? Not only this, Shema Israel, by the way, it is written, you know where, in which book? In Chumash Dvarim. Is not even revealed yet. So when we say Shema Israel, is the concept of Shema Israel. Means, that Hashem is one. Now, when Yaakov see Yosef, do you remember how Yosef looks like? Now, after 20 years, how he looks like? What he has on his head?
He looks like a king.
Brown, like a king.
Crown.
Malak.
He has a crown. He has the royalty. Big Melech.
Yes.
And where he was when the brothers took him, where he put him? In the pit. And from the pit he was. Now let me ask you now. Look what is Shema Israel. That's the whole idea of Shoshanat Yaakov. He said to Yosef, my dear
Hashem
son.
Elokeinu, Hashem Echad.
But he said to Yosef, don't get mixed up. You're not the Melech. You know who's the Melech? Hashem is the Melech. You are a messenger. But he said to him, do you know who put you in the pit? Who put him in the pit? Hashem?
The same Hashem.
Not Hashem.
The
Elohim.
Oh, Elohim, Midat Adin.
Yes.
Who put him in the house of Potiphar? Who is the evil beast? Haya Ra'a Khalatu. Do you remember who's Haya Ra'a, evil beast? Eshet, the wife of Potiphar. And he was there. It's Hashem or Elohim?
Elohim.
Vadai Elohim. Then,
Yes.
after she made up a story on him, and they put him in the jail. You know how many years he was in the jail?
12 years.
12 years. That's Hashem or Elohim?
Elohim.
Elohim. Now he is a king. Is Hashem or Elohim?
Hashem.
Hashem.
Ah. Now, if you do not say to yourself, the one who put you in the pit, it was Elohim, Hashem Echad. It's Perek Gimel and Perek Het. He was with Midat Adin with you. It was, a test for you. Big nisayon for you. But Baruch Hashem, you passed the test excellent, like Abraham be'akedat Yitzhak. You do the same thing. But remember, Midat Adin, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Perek Gimel and Perek Het and Megillat Esther is Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Perek Gimel is Elokim. Perek Het is Hashem. Now I'm going to Pesach. Do you remember what the mitzvah is to do in Pesach? What do you remember? We have Kadesh, Urhatz, Karpas, Yahad, Magid, Rachza, Motzi, Matzah, Maror, Korech, Shulchan, Orech, Tzafon, Barech, Halen, Nirtzah. Which word is the main one?
matzah.
Okay, why? Because you eat matzah.
It's a mitzvah to eat matzah, no?
Of course. Everything is mitzvah. Every word over there is mitzvah. Kadesh or Hatz. Kadesh is kiddush. Rahatz is washing hands. Everything is mitzvah. But Oh! Yes. What's the name of the book?
Megillah.
Haggadah. Where is the word Haggadah come? From Magid.
Magid.
You know what? You know where is it coming from? Magid and Haggadah? You know what it says to the son, 4 sons. שאינו יודע לשאול, והיגדת לבנך. והיגדת לבנך, מגיד, להגיד. והיגדת לבנך. So Magid is really the main thing. You know what is now? Let's see if you remember this sentence. כל המרבה לספר ביציאת מצרים, הרי זה משובח.
זה משובח.
What משובח? What is good? To tell the story of Egypt. And if you increase, is mehadrin, mina mehadrin. Is beautiful. Increase the story of Pesach. He said, Kol ha-marbe lesaper b'yitziat Mitzrayim. Now, when you tell your son the story, or your daughter, your children, the story of Pesach, of Yitziat Mitzrayim, now, which part you telling them? Tell me the truth. The good news or the bad news? We had bad story over there.
Yes.
At the beginning.
ויוציאנו השם ביד הסקה ובזרוע נטויה.
That's the end.
Yes.
We have to tell him everything.
עבדים היינו.
Avadim Hayinu. Okay, let me teach you 2 words in Hebrew. You shall say praise, good, Shevach. Shevach. Shevach is praise. And 2, I said, to say bad things, it says gnut. Disgrace. You know the word disgrace?
Yes.
To disgrace, leganot. Gnut is avadim hayinu. You know about Terah, what we're telling about our forefathers? Who is the father of Abraham? Terah. What Terah did? Worship idols.
Yeah.
This is gnut or shevach?
Gnut.
That's gnut. Are we telling our children the gnut? Of course, yes. Don't skip the gnut. You start the Haggadah with gnut. Look line 18. The most important of the Magid, look at the yellow. You have line 18? You see, Ruth, you see the text? Line 18, the yellow. שמתחילים בגנות ומסיימים בשבח. You begin the Haggadah with gnut, with disgrace. And you end up with the good things. but don't go to the good before, before you give the disgrace, the gnut. And you know what? If you have time, remember the afikuman should be before midnight. If you have time, what you give more? You give more about the gnut or about the shevach? Look at Rambam, line 28. וכל המוסיף ומערך בדרש פרשה זו הרי זה משובח. If you increase כל המרבה בגנות, הרי זה משובח. When you tell the children, tell them about the slavery. Tell them our forefathers were worshipping idols. By the way, worshipping idols he started spiritual gnut or physical gnut?
Physical.
How you see the physical? Yeah, you said.
Spiritual.
How you said the physical gnut? You said before Esther the pasuk. Avadim. Avadim Ainu is physical. Do you have any spiritual? You remember Terah Havi Abraham? Haya Oved Avodah Zarah, worshipping idols. Is physically or spiritually? Spiritually. The gnut is spiritually and gnut. Both of them. And if you have time, increase the gnut, not the shevach. Now you tell me by logic, why?
Because the
Because
more
after
you
the
see
gnut,
this, the more that you see the praise.
Excellent. זה בדיוק, fantastic. You are very, I'm not saying you're a very smart woman. He said, you understand that, if you do not have, when you appreciate your air condition,
When it's hot.
when you're stuck. Yes? If you've never broke, you will never appreciate, you take it for granted. When you appreciate that Hashem help us to discover their condition only when it's broke. And can you imagine you have 50 degrees outside and you have no air conditioning in the house? And then after 1 week, somebody fixed the house and now you feel like in a hotel? Say, wow, is a yofi. Now I feel the air. 1 week I couldn't breathe. Especially in Panama when the humidity is very high. Yeah. So he said, so now the gnut, you see now you see the connection between Shoshanat Yaakov and Haggadah? You see the connection? The connection is both of them the same idea. Shoshanat Yaakov, Perek Gimel is the gnut and Perek Het is the shevach.
Wow.
By the way, question, cappuccino in the house. I have here. You see? The same.
Ruthie has the cappuccino.
That's not cappuccino. That's, Esther, מים של ארץ ישראל.
Wow. We're jealous.
עכשיו, my question is, when we make brachot, נכון? When you have maror, you make bracha?
Yes, of course.
Of course. מה בעוד הברכה? It's not so of course.
באכילת מרור.
נכון, Ruth. But it's not of course, because when you eat maror during the year, you don't make al achilat maror. Only in Pesach.
Only Pesach.
But tell me, maror is midoraita or midrabanan?
Rabanan.
Midrabanan. נכון? Now tell me, Magid, the story of Pesach, is midoraita or midrabanan?
דאורייתא.
מידאורייתא, והגעת לבנך. What the bracha on the Magid?
There is no ברכה.
No, what question you ask? How on maror that midrabanan you make bracha, Magid, midoraita you don't make bracha? Can you say, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להגיד סיפור פסח? מידאורייתא. There is a beautiful answer. That Rab Chaim Brisk gave this answer. He said, that we have, he said, מה נשתנה הלילה הזה מכל הלילות? שבכל, we have, different between לילה הזה. He said, so he asked question, he said, what different really between this night? Every night we mention Yetziat Mitzrayim, not only in Pesach. Where we mention Yetziat Mitzrayim? In Kriyat Shema, in Birkat HaMazon, in the Kiddush. Every day I mention Kriyat. So what's so unique about Leil HaSeder? מה נשתנה הלילה הזה? כל לילה we mention יציאת מצרים. I just finished Arvit now. What we did, Yetziat Mitzrayim.
Yes.
You know what the answer is? One, there are few differences between two nights. Every night I mention Yetziat Mitzrayim.
Yes.
You know what we do tonight?
You
We
leave
really
it.
feel it's like we are feeling it.
Not feeling it. You going, you said to your children, we are going to Egypt. Ken? That means, אתה זוכר ג'נים said, you know what says בעל ההגדה? That you see yourself as a slave. It's not a story. So you tell, of course, you know, it's very hard to do it, you know, mentally. But he said, really, at least to tell your children, my dear children, we're not going to mention Yetziat Mitzrayim today. We are going to Egypt. Esther, you said before, physically, remember the pasuk he said, what? Avadim?
Abadim Hayinu.
Hayinu. What is Hayinu?
We were.
We were. We, not our forefathers. That means, חייב אדם לראות את עצמו כאילו הוא יצא ממצרים. A man is obligated to see himself as he go out of Egypt. רבותיי, this is a mitzvah. When you go to Leila Seder, you have to tell this to your children. It's not a joke. You know, now you understand the question said not. You know, there are many answers to this, but I'm giving it to our subject. Now you tell me now why we do not make bracha on the Magid. Let me ask you another question. A goy that want to convert to Judaism, what is the last step that he's doing before the conversion?
Mikveh.
Mikveh, very good. There is a bracha to the mikveh?
כן.
Yes. What the bracha אשר קידשנו
במצוותיו.
וציוונו? יש על תפילה, נכון? על תפילה, נכון? Now tell me, the convert, is he making bracha, this bracha? Can he make the bracha?
I think that the person is outside is making the bracha for him.
No.
He
I don't
doesn't
know.
Maybe he has to dip first and then make the beracha.
What did you say? Say it again.
Maybe the person has to dip first and then make the beracha.
And then what? Keep going.
And then
don't keep going,
beracha.
yes.
But first you have to make the action that you went in the water.
Okay, yes. Okay, you went out, you make bracha, and after the bracha what?
Once again, you have to dip.
You go to dip again.
You dip it. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, now listen. Why you cannot make bracha before?
Because you're not a
Because
Jew.
he's not
He's a
Jewish.
goy.
He's not Jewish.
He's not Jewish. You cannot asher kichanu tzivanu. You're not Jewish. So we go dip, and then you make bracha over la'asiyata, and then you make dip, second dip, you know, as a Jewish, as a Jew, as a Yehudi. Now you tell me why I don't make bracha on the Magid. When I start the Haggadah, what is my status?
Because you're a slave.
What is my status? I am a slave or free?
Slave.
I am a slave. If you make bracha, that means you are fake. You fake the Haggadah because you do not pretend you are a slave. You are really slave.
Oh, נכון.
So you do not make bracha.
Oh,
But anyway, I have hidush for you. There is a bracha.
yes.
You know where? He said yes.
After we have the cup, the first cup,
Not the first cup, the second cup.
the second cup.
The second cup. Remember when we finished the story, what we said? Remember the bracha? Remember the bracha, Ruth? Somebody remember the bracha? It's not, we don't do it every day. We don't do it. It's very hard to remember this. Listen, Asher, I raised up the cup and I said, Asher ge'alanu. Asher ge'alanu. What is ge'alanu? Hashem redeemed us. Ve'ga'al et avotenu. And he redeemed our forefathers. Wait a minute. I have a problem. Who is older, you or your father?
Well, father.
So why you said ge'alanu before my father? He said ge'alanu, he redeemed us, and then my forefathers. Why I said me first? First of all, be redeemed yourself. You are Eved.
Because I just passed it.
כן.
through it.
said אשר גאלנו וגאל את אבותינו, ברוך אתה השם what?
Ga'al Yisrael.
גאל ישראל. Now you know what you have to have in mind? What kavanah you have in mind?
That Hashem took us from Egypt.
No, more than this. You know what we have kavanah, intention. In your mind, you know what to think? About bracha for the Magid.
Wow.
Retroactive. You know the word retroactive?
Yes.
You know it's retroactive. When you do the bracha, Rabotai, nafkamina for Lela Seder. If you tell this to your family, people do not know this. But when you said, Asher Ge'alanu v'Ge'al Avototenu, you have to have the kavanah, let's set the bracha for the Magid. Because I couldn't make the bracha of the Magid because I was an Eved. Now I am a free man. So Baruch Atah Hashem Ga'al Israel is including, for the Magid.
Wow.
Wow, beautiful.
That's, by the way, Hatam Sofer. אמר את זה. Hatam Sofer. עכשיו, now, okay, we have this thing. ויאמר משה אל האלוהים, הנה אנוכי בא אליך, and he said to him, Moshe said, what is your name? If they ask me what is your name, what Hashem said?
Ehiyeh asher ehiyeh.
It sound weird to you, or it sound normal?
It's strange.
He said, Ehiyeh asher ehiyeh. What is, if your name is Ehiyeh, say Ehiyeh. Why Ehiyeh asher ehiyeh? So when Moshe said Ehiyeh, Hashem had said, I did not say Ehiyeh. I said Ehiyeh asher ehiyeh. That means twice Ehiyeh. You know why twice? Ehiyeh, first of all, I wanted to know, you know how much Ehiyeh is gematria? Ehiyeh, Aleph, Hey, Yud, Hey. Hey, Yud, Hey is 20. Nachon?
26.
21.
Uh-huh.
21. You know the word Asher is square. What is 21 square? Ahiyeh, Asher Ahiyeh means Ahiyeh times Ahiyeh. 20 times 21. It's not a math class, but it's not fair for me. But I tell you what is this. It's 441.
441. I missed by one.
441. You know when Hashem signed in his name, like in Kriyat Shema, what is the last word of Kriyat Shema? Hashem Elokechem.
Hashem
Emet.
Echad.
Emet.
Emet.
Emet. Hashem signed his name Emet. Do you know what is Emet in Gematria? 441. Mem Taf, the 441. Min Ehiyeh Asher Ehiyeh. You know what he said? One time I will appear to them as Midat Adin, and one time I will be, but that's the Emet. One time I will be, in Midat HaRachamim. When Abraham asked Hashem, you promised to me so many promises. You promised to me, what is the best two brachot that Abraham received from Hashem? Do you know what the best two brachot? What the best two brachot?
That
You cannot count the stars in the.
So what bracha is this? That's called Birkat HaZera. What is Birkat HaZera? The bracha for children. That's called Birkat HaZera. What the other bracha? Eretz Israel.
Of the land.
Land, Eretz Israel. So Abraham asked Hashem, Bameh eda? How do I know this is mine? Of course he believed in Hashem. It means, what if my children will goof big time, like Egel Azav? Are you going to take Eretz Israel from them? Look what Hashem said to them. Here double word. Ehiyeh asher ehiyeh. Nachon? Another.
Our Mazal.
No, wait a minute. Vayomer, look line 17. Remember the question of Abraham? Bameh eda. Vayomer Hashem el Abraham. Can you continue? Yadoa teda. You ask, Bameh eda. I have double, Yadoa teda. Yadoa teda. Why double? Why not teda? You should know. Yadoa teda. Now, Yadoa is teda in Hebrew. The shoresh is the same, but it's two different meaning. Look at the beautiful midrash. When somebody tell you ever, I have good news for you and bad news for you. You ever heard this? And then he asks you, what do you want to hear first?
Yes.
Bad news.
He said,
Good news.
יש לי חדשות טובות, חדשות לא טובות. Good news and bad news. He said, ידוע תדע is good news and bad news. Now listen. beautiful midrash. Try to remember this midrash forever. Line 18. Yadoa, by the way, is the bad news. Teda is the good news. Yadoa is perek gimel in Megillat Esther. Teda is perek het. Yadoa shani mefazran. You know, where are the Jews today? Are they in one place?
Everywhere.
No, scatter them all over the world. But I have good news for you. Teda what? Shani mekabetzan.
Kabetzem.
מה זה מקבצן? Gather them together. Don't worry, ידוע תדע. Now listen, number 2, line 19. You see, please follow, bear with me. ידוע שאני ממשכנם. Oh, that's a very hard word. You know the word mashkon? You know what is mashkanta? When you buy a house, you have mashkanta. You get a loan from the bank.
Hipoteca.
Yes. You know how to say it in English? Collateral. You know the word collateral? Collateral is mashkon.
Colateral, sí,
Yes. You say it in, how you say it in Spanish?
Hipoteca.
Yes. That's for the moshkanta, for the house. Yadoa shani memashkenam. I will make them, I will give them as a collateral to the goyim. But I have good news for you. Teda shani porgan. I will save them. Last but not least, yadoa shani mesha'bedam. Bad news. I will enslave them by the goyim. But the good news,
תדע שאני גואלם.
what is goalam? But you have to know good news.
them.
Is it remind you Megillat Esther?
Yes.
So ידוע is איזה פרק? Which פרק is ידוע? פרק ג' הטבעת אצל המן. You know, but the תדע is פרק ח' is טבעת אצל מרדכי. כן? לכן that's why he used really the double word, ידוע תדע. And you know, in short, are we under ידוע or תדע? we said, you know what is ידוע תדע? Hashem Elokim. You know what we say in Yom Kippur 12 times by the end of Yom Kippur? Hashem hu Elokim. Hashem hu Elokim. Remember, that's the same God. The same God. But remember that if you know grammar in Hebrew, you know which word ידוע תדע. You know which word is future tense here?
תדע.
תדע, very good. So how you translate the word תדע? You will.
You will know.
You will know. You will see it. That's why he said, don't give up, my dear children. Sometimes you see the murdering, you see the corruption of the goyim, you see the hatred, but תדע, you have to know, בעזרת Hashem, Am Yisrael Chai, by the Ezrat Hashem, you know that Hashem will give us the ultimate redemption. כי הדברים שהם אחד, הם יחד גם כן. When we gather all the things together, say, I have to skip all this because all this I think I explained to you, but look at the beautiful midrash. Gemara. Show to your husband that you know Gemara too. Okay? Megillah, page 14. Remember. You know how to say hand in Hebrew?
What?
How do you say hand in Hebrew?
Yad?
Yad. Yad.
יד.
Yad. נכון? Yad, you know how much is Yudalet? 14.
14.
יופי, 14. אז מגילה, remember, page 14, יד. Look, he say. Now, גדולה היא הסרת הטבעת. You know how many prophets we had? How many prophets we had? Big.
14.
No, more.
40.
We had, by the way, we had men or women. Do we have a woman prophets too?
Yes, of course. Seven.
Wow, how you jump. You jump really out of the roof. You said, when I said woman, you jumped up. You say, you know, but you know how many men and how many women?
40 men and 7 women.
48 men.
48.
48. Look, now, who is higher? When the moment the tapat was on the hand of Mordechai, or the 48 Nevi'im and 7 Nevi'ot?
The 7 Nevi'ot.
No, 48 Nevi'im with together with 7 Nevi'ot. So look, by the simple text, of course you say 48 Nevi'im, 7 Nevi'ot. No, the Gemara said Gedolah. You know what is Gedolah? Greater. Higher. גדולה. הסרת הטבעת, when the טבעת was removed from Haman to Mordechai, is higher than from all the 48 נביאים and 7 נביאות.
Wow.
You know why?
Because the decree was in verse.
נהפוך הוא.
נכון.
It's more. The Gemara said, when the Nevi'im told us to make tshuva, did we make tshuva?
No. Not always.
Not always, not all of us.
Right.
Not all of us. Part of the, look like Panama. You know, when he said, some people do make tshuva, some people don't. He said, when the Nevi'im did, they didn't full tshuva the whole Am. But when Mordechai got the Tabat, who made tshuva? The whole nation. If we'll do it today, Rabotai, we'll go to Shara Hamishim. He will say, you see the Gdola? Why he said Gdola? Remember, this is a very, very famous saying. גדולה הסרת הטבעת יותר מ-48 נביאים ו7 נביאות. Greater is the removing of the ring, more higher than 48 נביאים and 7 prophets, women. You know, he said, look how powerful. So our conclusion, my dear friend, is really to see Perek Gimel and Perek Het. I would like to end up this shiur. Look what he says in Perek Gimel. Tell me what different. Do you know when the Nazis started to be in power? You know which year?
1933.
In 1933. That was the beginning of the destruction. We didn't know what will happen later on until 45. Until 1945, we found out he did in Mahshua v'zichro 6 million Jews. So look what he says. Mamash Haman is mamash like Hitler. Hitler is like Haman, not Haman like Hitler. And Haman is Amalek. Im ala melech tov. He said, if you find, if it's good for you, la'abedam, give me the power to destroy them. ו10,000 כיכר כסף אשכול על ידי עושה המלאכה. I'll give you 10,000 square of silver, mean money. He bribed him with the money. What the Melech said? ויסר המלך את טבעתו. The king took his ring from his hand and he handed it up to Haman. צורר היהודים. ויאמר המלך להמן. Do you know, you ever heard, what is צורר היהודים? You know what is the main bar of the Mishkan? The main bar, the center bar. It's called Sir. George Bush, he used the word excess of evilness. You ever know? You heard this concept? Excess of evilness. He said the Tzira Resha. What is he talking about then? The Muslims and, the Iran and all this Tzira Resha. It's excess. He said Tzorer HaYehudim. That's the evilness. ויאמר המלך להמן, הכסף נתון לך. Here, do whatever you want. He gave him a full power to destroy the Jewish nation. And now go, that's Perek Gimel. That's Yadoa or Teda?
Yado.
That's Yadoa. Now look Perek Het. ויסר המלך את טבעתו אשר העביר מהמן. ויתנה למרדכי ותעשה מסתרת מרדכי על בית המן. Not only he got the Haman, the house, the beautiful palace of Haman, changed completely under the name of Mordechai. ותוסף אסתר ותדבר לפני המלך ותיפול לפני רגליו ותחנן לו להעביר. He said, now remove the decree. She asked him, חשב על היהודים. The final solution is still valid. It's still valid, don't forget. With all the happiness. ויושת המלך לאסתר את שרביט הזהב. He gave her, his שרביט הזהב. ותקם את אסתר, she stood up in front of the melech. What is the melech here? Hashem. He said she stood, of course, Ahasuerus in front of her, but she prayed to Hashem. You mean, אם טובה אני בעיניו, if I'm good in your eyes, please destroy, disgrace, and abolish and nullify all the bad decree on the Jewish nation. לאבד את כל היהודים, the decree of Haman. כי איכך אוכל וראיתי, how could I be a queen to see the destruction of my own nation? ויאמר המלך אחשוורוש לאסתר המלכה ולמרדכי היהודי. He הנה בית המן נתתי לאסתר ואותו תלו על העץ. And you know, you take the house and hang up Haman on the tree. אשר שלח ידו ביהודים. ואתם כתבו על היהודים כתוב בעיניכם. And you write whatever you want. You know, whatever you find. בשם המלך, וחיתמו בטבעת המלך. And use my ring as a seal. You know, to sign. כי כתב אשר נכתב בשם המלך. If the מלך signed with his ring. ונחתום בטבעת המלך. אין להשיב. Nobody can change it. בראותם יחד יתחלת מרדכי. That's why שושנת יעקב צהלה ושמחה. בראותם יחד תחלת מרדכי. So my dear friend, our conclusion to our life. Remember, we're going through ידוע, we're going through תדע. But it said, השם אלוקינו השם אחד. We have to believe and to do everything to be together. ממש לך כנוס את כל היהודים. We have to gather together and make תשובה. And make tshuva, and make together, you know, all these things together. בעזרת השם, we will see שער ה-50. We'll see the שער ה-50, Mashiach will come. Do you remember what is Mashiach in Hebrew? In abbreviation? Mashiach יגלה שער 50. He revealed us שער ה-50. And you know what will happen with all the terrorists and all the goyim that hating us? They will stand in line to go inside Bet HaMikdash, not to kill, to pray. They will stay in line.
Amen.
All the
They will
goyim,
recognize Hashem.
yes,
They will recognize
everybody will come to Jerusalem to pray to Hashem in Bet HaMikdash. So you see, it's going such a good, that's just to show you, you know, how important it is, you know, to be together and to be happy and to make tshuva. Remember the rule, let's agree to disagree. Not to be so tough in the ego. We have big ego. We have to destroy the ego and stick together. We stick together, we'll see the Mashiach. בעזרת השם. שושנת יעקב צהלה ושמחה, בראותם יחד תחלת מרדכי.